Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we are going to take a look at a bit of a beefy boy, an Ork Boy. In fact, it's a Beast Snagga. Now, I will say right now that there is a good chance there'll be a little bit of background noise in this video. I will do my best to remove it should it show up, but this is the quietest it's been since 8 AM this morning. There has just been constant construction right around my house. I don't even know where it's coming from, but it's been driving me absolutely mental. But for now, the coast, so clear and so clean. Let's take a look at this lad. So, this is a Beast Snagga, not on Beast. So, when we saw the lads on the Pig Squigs, the Piggly Squigglies, that's what they're called now, by the way. They're not Squig Hogs, they're Piggly Squigglies, that's just how it is. There are lads on foot, which is not all that surprising. We have seen hints of new Ork stuff from rumour engines past, and the occasional preview tease, and let's just have a look at the lad. That, to me, is a pretty solid Ork Boy. So, essentially, these guys, the Beast Snaggas, they're bigger than regular boys, they're larger and stronger than your standard boy, they're not as durable as a knob, but they can swing their choppers just as hard. So I'm assuming in terms of like tabletop stats, we're looking at a lad who is not particularly hardier necessarily than a standard boy, but is a bit more hard hitting. And I have to say, just as models go, I think that's a pretty solid looking Ork Boy. The face is kind of interesting. The face feels somewhat more feral and more kind of, I don't know, like animalistic in a way. So for contrast, we've got one of the existing Ork Boys here. The face is similar. I don't know, there's just something about it that it's similar. It's very similar, but it's not the same. I don't know whether it's that there's like additional detail there, or whether the painting is just a little bit different and it's bringing out that detail more. I mean, when you look at especially the paint job on this one, the eyes aren't quite as well done. The kind of lids on the underside are painted exactly the same as the rest of the skin. Same as the lips, actually. It's all green or like lightly highlighted green. You've got more colour variation going on with this guy, so the eyes are more clearly picked out. There's red, there's also a little bit of orange in the centre. There's a different shade of green used for the lower lids. You've also got like a much paler lip, I think, which is drawing out a lot of the detail. The nose, I think, is just flat out a bit more detailed than on this guy's face. Yeah, so his nose is almost like open. It's almost like there isn't two nostrils, there's just one hole in the middle of his face. Whereas there is more of like a pig-like nose going on with this guy, which is probably contributing quite a bit to making him look that bit more feral and kind of like animal-like. We can definitely tell that the Beast Snagga is bigger. The torso, the upper body, it seems more, not stretched out necessarily, but just is a bit longer. The legs are also a bit longer, and although they're kind of spaced out quite wide, which is, pretty similar to the existing Orks, they're not as wide. It's not quite as ridiculous a gap between the legs. It's a bit harder to tell because you've got something dangling down on this one, but I think even with that, you can kind of see that the legs are really, really stretched, really wide apart on this one. It's kind of hard to tell, but I feel like from that angle, we did a whole video about Ork arses. It was like 9 minutes of just talking about the arses on Orks. I'll put that in the description so you can go back and check it out. But I feel like this model is not going to have that pronounced hunch in the back. Like the way that these Orks are posed, they have such a severe kind of almost dent in the spine that's forcing their gut forward and kind of bringing their shoulders back, but their arse is stuck really far out behind them. I don't think we're getting that with this guy. That will contribute some to how tall the model is. Like, if you straighten the pose out, they're going to stand a bit taller. But I feel like with this, the legs are a bit closer together. It looks like that kind of scoop in the back is nowhere near as pronounced, even from the front. Like, even from the front. The thing is, if you look at this guy from the front, it's a little bit trickier to tell because of, lighting and all that stuff. But he just flat out looks much more squat. This just looks like a better proportioned Ork. So, I mean, if we're talking bigger and taller, better proportioned, it's basically the same approach they took with the Primaris compared to the Firstborn, isn't it? It's like they've improved the bits that need improving. And once again, instead of it just being a replacement kit, this guy is a Beast Snagga. He's not just an Ork Boy. He's not just a regular Ork Boy. He is a bigger, slightly stronger version of an Ork Boy. So it's almost a similar approach there as well. But I really like the look of this. I think that's a decent looking Ork. A bit of like you've got the kind of lizard hide over the shoulders, which is cool. The like the spikes coming out the top of that is a nice touch. Adds a bit more to the silhouette, but it's not like massively confusing. I'm a big sucker for the massive Ork like shoulder guards, those big hunks of metal that is just strapped on. I really like that. The gun I quite like, but there's a weird thing going on at the bottom where it looks like bullets have fallen out of the belt. Except I suppose it's the same as drilling your barrels. It's not drilled through, so it looks odd. It looks like there's just random extra bits hanging off the bottom, which you could just cut off. That's not necessarily a particularly big issue. Yeah, overall, I really like this. It is interesting that these are being shown and described in such a similar way to how Primaris were done. That's the thing that is surprising me about this, because I figured if we saw like replacement boys, which these I don't know whether these are necessarily replacement boys, but it feels like a similar situation, right? It's not just me, I hope, because we've got this same thing where we have like an older kit. It's being kind of added to with things that feasibly, presumably, are going to fill the same role. So I'm imagining these are going to be a troops choice, but they are essentially the same as what we had before. They are boys. They're just slightly bigger, slightly stronger boys. But in terms of like their overall function, in terms of them being as good as, say, like a knob, they're not. They're just slightly stronger. They're just a bit more hard-hitting than the existing boys that we have. It feels like a very similar approach. I'd be interested to know if you feel the same way, actually, or whether that's just me reading too much into this. But yeah, overall, that's a good-looking boy. That is a good-looking boy. If they've fixed the arse out pose, I'll be happy with it, to be honest. That for me has been the thing that has been like holding this kit back for so long, and it is an old kit. I mean, my Speed Freaks army in 3rd, when Codex Armageddon came out, this is the same kit. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they've changed anything in it. I think it's exactly the same box. Maybe they might have like retooled it a bit, because I look at the sprues. I don't know that they were this efficient when I had mine. Yeah, they must have added stuff to them, actually. Looking at it, they must have added stuff to them. But in terms of like the overall age of this lot, they are getting on. They are really, really getting on. Have they added stuff to them, actually, or am I just imagining that? They might have not done. It was a long time ago. I'll say right now, I think this guy's an improvement over this lot. For sure. They don't look bad, these, but they haven't aged great. The pose does like give pause quite often for me. This looks like it's fixed it. It's still identifiably 40k. I mean, that's something else as well. I've seen a few people say that it doesn't look 40k enough, but realistically, when you look at these guys, they've got a bit of scrap metal on them, they've got a gun, and they've got a melee weapon. That's it. There's really not all that much different. The lack of clothing across the chest, maybe, but aside from that, you've got your slugger, you've got your chopper, you've got your steel-toed boots, same as on the old lot. You've got like a nice hefty metal shoulder plate there. I think it's fine. I don't think it looks particularly out of place at all. Yeah, overall, that is a solid-looking boy. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of them. I want to know what size squad they come in. I would assume a squad of 10, but we'll have to wait and see. As they say, it makes them an ideal fit for the equally traditionalist snakebites, but they can be found across almost every clan, and while other green skins might see them as a bit weird, no one will turn down a few extra bodies in a fight. I mean, why would you? But yeah. I do like it. If you're looking to start up your own... Isn't this out of stock? Let's click it and find out. I knew it. I was... Don't ask me how, why. Every now and again I just go through and I'm looking at stuff. For this time round, it was to think about what to do for like a monthly giveaway on the channel, because I thought that'd be a fun thing to do. And I was looking at the start collecting, and I was starting to build up a list as to what the points values were, and so on and so on, etc., etc. And I did notice at the time that this was out of stock, and now it's no longer available online. Once again, slightly mixed messaging there, lads. Slightly mixed messaging. You can pick up this thing to start your thing. Oh, wait, no. No, you can't. It's no longer available. God damn it. Ugh. Anyway, what do you think of this fella? I like him. I like him. I think that's a solid-looking orc. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like. Don't click if you don't want to. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel if you would like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.